I'm Mark Fernandez, and this is Franchising with Fernandez.
Thank you, Mark. It's always a pleasure having a chat with you and hearing what's going on over in Western Australia, that other country that is a little bit different to us over here on the Eastern Seaboard.
Chris Mavris, the CEO of Sharetea, based in sunny Sydney. Welcome, Chris. How are you?
I'm really well. Keeping really positive and focused on the challenges that we're all facing and how we can work through them as a group.
Yeah, look, it has been really challenging. But before we get into a couple of questions, tell me a little bit about your franchise groups, number of franchisees and support people working with you now, please.
So Sharetea is one of the first bubble tea brands to come into being in Taiwan in the early 90s. We're across many countries in the world now, United States, Vietnam, Australia, into Middle East as well. We are a company, and the name says it all. It began by people sharing tea, and that's how the name Sharetea came to being. The founder was a tea farmer and just enjoyed sharing tea with people, and he thought there's some legs to this, and he created a brand and started sharing his tea with other people. Currently, we have 55 stores all across the Eastern Seaboard, from Brisbane down to Melbourne. We have 11 people in our support centre, and we have a pretty engaged group of people who really enjoy what they do, and our community is really strong. And since coming on board, I'm just trying to build that community stronger and stronger every day.
Great. Well, sounds like you've got your hands full there, especially in the last few weeks. Chris, can you walk us through all the craziness that's been happening and, through your lenses, through your eyes, if you like, what you've seen and what you've been through, if you can?
At Sharetea, and, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, our customer base is predominantly Asian. So I would say 50% probably 60% of our customers are of Asian descent. And even though the last 3 weeks have really, hit the rest of Australia, we've been dealing this from actually the 25th of January. Some of our stores that are predominantly Asian demographics, and, the Chinese community was the first one to really be hit with COVID-19. Some of our stores were impacted quite significantly at that point in time. So as a brand, we have not been ahead of the curve, but we've been feeling the pain for a little bit longer in certain pockets. Other pockets have been still strong and fell off the cliff just like everyone else did about 3 weeks ago now. That Sunday where the New South Wales government and the Victoria government wanted to shut the country down was really the telling point where it took that severe nosedive. What have we been doing? We've been communicating more than ever with our franchise partners, communicating with our teams. We're a retail brand, so we're trying to stay connected to our franchise partners, so our area managers are still out there visiting stores as well as taking phone calls. It's just been about communication, Mark, and about community, and just emphasising the fact that, our Prime Minister has told us that every job is an essential job, and our network has been amazing. We still have over 90% of our stores still open and trading, even through this period, because they just want to support their team members and offer them work and continue to support our loyal Sharetea customers. So I'm really proud of our brand, our franchise partners, our support centre team, and everyone associated with the Sharetea community have really made me proud.
Wow, sounds amazing. And Chris, personally, can we ask you what you and your family have been through? It's been really tough for everyone. So can you share some of the stories?
So from a personal point of view, I'm fortunate. I have older children. My youngest is 18. So everyone's been working at home. So personally, the challenge has been internet. We had major problems with our internet at home. So having everyone working from home, one doing university work, the other one doing work for his job, that's been one of the biggest challenges. For me, the biggest challenge, I can't sit still. So working from home has created personal challenges for me. So I've tried to keep myself active and tried to find spaces where I can work and still socially isolate and not impact other people. Sometimes I go to the office still and work on my own. Sometimes I sit on the backyard and work. But the biggest challenge, not personally, but I think the biggest challenge that faces us all is, what does it look like when we're all allowed out and still socially isolating? However, the world starts to turn again. The bigger companies, such as, the Telstras, the Ernst & Youngs, the PwCs and that of the world. What happens when they start allowing their staff to go back to the work in the offices? And what does that look like? Is that 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? Because at the moment, everyone's working from home. The economy really moves, I believe, when there's people on the trains, there's people on the roads. And as much as we hate the people on the trains and the traffic on the roads, it is a sign of a vibrant economy and an economy that's moving. At the moment, even though the economy is ticking over, we're probably running on 2 cylinders instead of 8. So that's what, the challenges for me are, trying to envisage what that looks like.
Okay. And with over 90% of your group still actually operating and open, let's talk a little bit about franchisee support. Have you had to support them financially or prop them up in any way at all, Chris, over this period?
Yeah, we had some really intense discussions internally about this, and we sort of held off rather than going out early and when we all didn't know where it was going to end up. I sat down with the founder of the business, Anthony, and we had a chat, and I felt very strongly about supporting franchisees. I've been a franchisee myself and still have a lot of empathy for those people that sit on the front line doing what they need to do and keeping Australia going at the moment, really. So I took the very, many people would say severe, and I had some discussions with this, from late March to the end of March. We decided to charge our franchise partners no royalties and no marketing fund for all of March, and no royalties for the last 10 days of March, and back that up with halving our royalties for the month of April. So we came out and we announced that to our network. So they had some comfort to know that as much as they were feeling pain, that their support centre, Sharetea head office, was here to work with them and help them and assist them. I'm also looking at ways that we can do some deals on stock. We're vertically integrated and we provide a lot of the ingredients to our stores to help them make the beautiful teas and beverages that we serve day in, day out. And this week I'll be sitting down with my head of procurement to talk through how we can perhaps get some cheaper stock out to the stores to help their cost of goods, to help them be more profitable, and to support them through this time that we're all dealing with.
Great. Well, it sounds wonderful, Chris, and I'm sure the relief is not only emotional, it's something that the franchisees have as tangible so that they can, get through today and hopefully move forward as we go. Other franchisors, Chris, I know you're well connected. You're the who's who man of Melbourne and Sydney. Talk to me about other franchisors that you've helped or that have helped you through this, if you can.
So there's everyone's at battle stations at the moment, just trying to, manage cash flow, manage the numbers, support their teams internally, support their teams externally. a number of conversations with a couple of brands. You know, the ones that are out the front of Woolworths and Coles stores seem to be doing a lot better than the ones that are in the food courts. The ones that are in the food courts away from where everyone is, you know, now traversing the ant track, as we like to call them, retail inside shopping centres, is from the car park to the supermarket and back to the car. And the conversations out there, some networks are on their knees at the moment. And, you know, I've had a couple of conversations with, I'm not going to name them, but we believe that, you know, from a retail food point of view, there's going to be some of the brands that come out the other side looking very different to the way that they went in, from, you know, head office numbers, from store numbers, from, you know, they will not be the same brands that they were going into this. So there's a lot of pressure on people, and a lot of people, and I'm very proud to see the way that these brands have dealt with that pressure. They've really kept it internal and at a really senior level, and they're trying to keep everyone upbeat to come through the other side.
And that's the reason that we're doing this, is to get some positive stories out there, tell people that, hey, maybe you're not as bad as what you think things are, but there are people out there to help you. That's wonderful. Thank you, Chris. All right.
Listen, Mark, to that point, as leaders in this industry, I believe that there is a positivity amongst them. Yes, we're all planning for the worst in the background. However, the story that is being outwardly projected is one of positivity, one of community, one of coming together, and as a group, we will see this through and come out the other side and support each other. And community, whether it's franchise community, whether it's community within each other's, within your brand, or within, you know, if it's a group that has more than one brand, community is what will see us through, and community is what we should be relying on in many ways to keep that positivity, to keep that engagement. And, you know, like, I've ensured that at least twice a week I have a group meeting on Skype with everyone in our support centre. So everyone doesn't, even though they are isolated, they do not feel isolated. Sharing what they've done, not only, you know, from work, but from personally, and just trying to ensure that that community continues to exist, because there is strength in community and we can support each other and help each other through.
Wonderful, Chris. All right, last question, or it's more like a comment. If you had one thing to say to the franchising community of Australia in these dark times, we're all looking for some support, what would it be?
That's a really good question, a really interesting one. You know, franchising is a very resilient business model, and it's a people model. It's all based on people. And if we stay focused on people and stay focused on community, I believe that we can come through that. Yes, there's going to have to be some tough decisions and some tough conversations. However, we need to focus on the positive, not ignore the negative. And I think the biggest one, especially from the part of franchising that I really understand, and that's food retailing, the big part of this is how we support our franchise partners, especially with the landlords. And the results we get from landlords at the end of the day is perhaps will be the difference with what we'll see brands continue and brands not continue. And if the landlords don't come to the party, it is going to be terrible. However, there is strength in community, and let's focus on that and come through this together within your own brand, strong as ever, and focus on what it's going to look like in 3, 6, 12 months' time.
Wonderful, Chris. Thank you so much. Chris Mavris, everyone, CEO of Sharetea, based in sunny Sydney. Chris, I wish you and your family all the best, and and happiness. And we hope that we will get a chance to speak with you maybe the other side of Christmas and see how you're traveling.
Thank you very much, Mark. And I'd just like to give all my wishes out to the entire community. Stay well, stay safe, and look after those close to you.
Wonderful. Thank you and goodbye. If you have any positive franchising stories out there, I'd love to hear them. Drop me an email at mark@bda-online.com.au. I'm Mark Fernandez, and this is Franchising with Fernandez.